There's something most people won't admit. It's not that they're afraid of public speaking. Everyone knows that. What they won't admit is what they're actually afraid of. Because it's not the stage. It's not the microphone. It's not the audience. It's something much closer. Something they carry with them every single day. In every conversation. In every room they walk into. In every silence that lasts a second too long. And the stage just happens to be the one place where that thing can no longer hide. Let me tell you what's really going on. When someone stands in front of a group of people and their hands start shaking, their throat tightens, their mind goes blank. They're not experiencing a fear of speaking. They're experiencing a fear of being seen. Truly seen, without filters, without edits, without the safety of a screen between them and the world. And for most people, that is the most terrifying experience a human being can have. Think about your daily life. You curate everything. You choose which words to say and which to swallow. You craft texts before sending them. You delete photos that show too much of the real you. You rehearse conversations in your head before having them. You've built an entire system designed to control how people perceive you. And it works, most of the time. But the moment you stand on a stage, that system collapses. You can't edit your words after they leave your mouth. You can't delete an awkward pause. You can't filter the sweat on your forehead or the tremor in your voice. You are live, unedited, exposed, and every single person in that room is looking at you, forming opinions you cannot control, seeing things you cannot choose to hide. That's not a fear of speaking. That's a fear of losing control over your own image. And for someone who has spent their entire life managing how they appear to others, that loss of control feels like dying. But here's the question nobody asks. Why? Why does being seen feel so dangerous? What happened to make visibility feel like a threat instead of a gift? Let's go deeper. When you were a child, you didn't have this fear. No child is born afraid of being seen. Watch any 4-year-old. They sing in grocery stores. They dance in waiting rooms. They tell strangers their entire life story without hesitation. They perform constantly, joyfully, without a shred of self-consciousness. They don't care who's watching because they haven't yet learned that being watched is dangerous. So what changed? Somewhere between childhood and now, something happened. Maybe it was one moment. Maybe it was 1,000 small ones. But at some point, you learned that being visible comes with a price. Maybe you raised your hand in class and the teacher dismissed your answer. Maybe you told a joke and nobody laughed. Maybe you shared something personal and someone used it against you. Maybe you expressed excitement and were told to calm down. Maybe you cried and were told to stop. Maybe you spoke your truth and watched your parents' faces turn cold. You learned the lesson, not with your mind, with your body. Your nervous system recorded every one of those moments and filed them under one category. Being seen equals pain. And from that point on, a system was built inside you. A system designed to protect you from ever being that exposed again. You learned to read the room before speaking. You learned to say what people wanted to hear instead of what you actually thought. You learned to perform a version of yourself that was acceptable, likable, safe. And that version, that carefully constructed mask, became who you presented to the world. It worked. You got through school. You got through relationships. You got through jobs and interviews and dinner parties. The mask held. But it held because the stakes were manageable. A conversation can be steered. A text can be revised. A meeting can be survived by staying quiet. The mask works in controlled environments, but a stage is not a controlled environment. A stage is the one place where the mask is tested beyond its limits. Because on a stage, you can't hide behind someone else's voice. You can't deflect attention. You can't blend in. You are the focal point. And every eye in the room is asking the same question your nervous system has been dreading since childhood. Who are you, really? That question is what makes your hands shake. Not the audience, not the words on the teleprompter, the question. And the fear isn't that you'll give the wrong answer. The fear is that you'll give the real one, that the mask will slip and the person underneath, the one you've spent years hiding, will be exposed. And that person, you believe, is not enough. This is what separates the fear of public speaking from every other fear. It's not about danger. There is no physical threat on a stage. Nobody has ever died from giving a bad presentation. Your rational mind knows this. But your body doesn't care about logic. Your body remembers every time you were seen and rejected. Every time you were heard and dismissed. Every time you showed yourself and the world said, not good enough. And when you stand on that stage, your body responds to those memories as if they're happening right now. Your heart races. Your palms sweat. Your voice cracks. Not because of the audience in front of you, because of the audience inside you. The internalized voices of every person who ever made you feel small for being visible. Let me say that again. The audience you're afraid of is not in the room. It's in your head. It's the teacher who rolled their eyes, the parent who wasn't impressed, the classmate who laughed, the partner who said you were too much. They're all sitting in the front row of your mind, and they have been for years. The real audience, the one in the actual room, is almost irrelevant. They could be supportive, interested, even rooting for you. It wouldn't matter, because you're not performing for them. You're performing for the ghosts, and here's what makes this even more painful. The people who fear public speaking the most are almost never the people with the least to say. It's the opposite. They're usually the ones with the most to say. The deepest thinkers. The most sensitive observers. The people whose inner world is so rich and complex that the gap between what they feel inside and what they can express outside feels unbridgeable. They're not empty. They're overflowing. And the fear isn't that they have nothing to offer. The fear is that what they offer won't be received the way it deserves. Think about how tragic that is. The people who would give the most powerful speeches are the ones who never give them. The ideas that would change rooms, careers, lives, sit locked inside someone's chest because the thought of standing up and being seen triggers a survival response that was wired decades ago. This fear doesn't just live on stages. It echoes through every area of life. The person who has something brilliant to say in a meeting, but waits too long and someone else says it first. The person who writes the perfect email, but rewrites it 11 times before deleting it entirely. The person who has a business idea, a book idea, a creative vision, but never shares it because what if it's not good enough? The person who avoids promotions because more responsibility means more visibility. The person who turns down opportunities not because they can't do the work, but because the work might require them to be seen doing it. This is not laziness. This is not lack of ambition. This is the psychology of someone who learned very early that visibility is a transaction, and the price is judgment. And social media has made this infinitely worse, because now the stage isn't just a podium in a conference room. It's everywhere. Every post is a performance. Every comment is a potential judgment. Every like is a verdict. The generation between 25 and 45 is the most publicly visible generation in human history. They broadcast their lives daily. And yet, when asked to stand in front of 10 people and speak for 5 minutes, they freeze. Because a screen offers something a stage never can. A filter, a delete button, a chance to control how you're seen before anyone sees you. Remove that filter and the fear comes flooding back. Now here's the part that changes everything. The part that most psychology videos won't tell you. Your fear of public speaking is not a flaw. It's not a weakness. It's not something broken inside you that needs to be fixed. It's proof that you feel deeply. It's proof that you care about connection. It's proof that at some point in your life, you were brave enough to show yourself. And when it went wrong, you were smart enough to protect yourself from it happening again. The problem isn't the protection. The protection saved you. The problem is that the protection is still running long after the danger is past. You're not that child anymore. The teacher can't humiliate you. The parent can't dismiss you. The classmates can't laugh at you. But your nervous system doesn't know that. It's still guarding the door to a room that no longer exists. And healing doesn't mean tearing down that protection overnight. It doesn't mean forcing yourself onto a stage and powering through the terror. That's not courage. That's re-traumatization. Healing means understanding why the fear is there. It means recognizing that every time your voice shakes, it's not because you're weak. It's because a younger version of you is trying to protect you from something that hurt them deeply. And instead of hating that fear, instead of being ashamed of it, you can look at it and say, I understand why you're here. You kept me safe once, but I'm safe now. That shift from shame to understanding is where the real transformation begins. Not in a technique, not in a breathing exercise, not in imagining the audience in their underwear, in the simple recognition that the fear of public speaking was never about the speech. It was about the story you told yourself about what happens when people really see you. And maybe it's time to tell a different story. Because the truth is, the thing you're most afraid to show the world is usually the thing the world needs most from you. The trembling voice, the imperfect delivery, the raw, unfiltered thought that doesn't come out exactly the way you rehearsed it. That's not failure. That's authenticity. And authenticity is the only thing a stage can give you that a screen never will. The screen lets you be perfect. The stage lets you be real. And real is what moves people. Real is what they remember. Real is what they never forget. So if you're someone who has avoided stages, avoided meetings, avoided raising your hand, avoided being the center of attention because deep inside you believe the real you isn't good enough to be seen, I want you to consider something. What if the real you is exactly what someone in that room needs to hear? What if your imperfect, shaking, terrified voice is the one that finally makes someone else feel less alone? What if the speech you're too afraid to give is the one that changes everything, not despite the fear, but because of it? Because the most powerful speakers in history weren't fearless. They were terrified. They just decided that what they had to say mattered more than what they were afraid to feel. And maybe that's the real psychology of the fear of public speaking. It was never about the stage. It was never about the audience. It was about a question you've been avoiding your entire life. Am I enough to be seen? The answer was always yes. You just haven't let yourself believe it yet. Now I want to ask you something, and I want you to be honest. Not for me, for yourself. What was the moment? The moment you learned that being seen was dangerous. The moment your voice became something to hide instead of something to use. Maybe it was a classroom. Maybe it was a dinner table. Maybe it was a conversation you've never told anyone about. Whatever it was, drop it in the comments. Because I promise you someone else in this comment section is carrying the exact same moment, and they need to know they're not the only one. If this video put words to something you felt but could never explain, subscribe. This is what we do here. We decode the patterns hiding behind your behavior. We pull back the curtain on the things you feel but can't name. And the next video might be the one that finally explains the part of yourself you've been avoiding the longest.